Hello, hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful uh, evening. Hope you're enjoying the Premier League games there. Liverpool are going to win the Premier League title. Yes, I said it here, right here, just after what we've witnessed, Liverpool beating up against Nottingham Forest. I know Arsenal fans will be disappointed to hear this, just as much as those of Manchester City, who have watched Liverpool leave it late against Nottingham Forest. With all their injury troubles, they are still managing to grind it out. So that's why I think Liverpool are going to run away with this season's Premier League title, in spite of my earlier predictions in the season. Yes, Liverpool, I do think, will win the Premier League title because, what better way to explain it than just the circumstances they do find themselves in? First of all, they are playing for a manager who is leaving at the end of the season, a manager that's been with them for the last 8.5 years. So remember, they factor that in. That is a factor. They are willing to go to the ends for him. They are willing to give him the perfect farewell. And each match day, they are continuously exhibiting that game in, game out. We saw that against Chelsea when they beat them by a goal to nil in the cup final. That was the Carabao Cup final last Sunday when they beat Chelsea by a goal to nil to win the Carabao Cup final. Even when they bring in the young kids, they still manage to find a way through. They still manage to find a breakthrough. They still manage to grind it out and get that desired result, oftentimes a victory. And today was no different when they traveled to Nottingham Forest. So it was Darwin Nunes, just returning back from an injury, had to come off the bench. And in the dying minutes of the game, in literally the final kick of the game, in the 90th minute, so he managed to score the only goal of the game as Liverpool won it by a goal to nil this Saturday afternoon. Yes, Liverpool have beaten Nottingham Forest for the first time in their last two visits. For the first time in the last three games away to Nottingham Forest, because the last two visits had ended in a 1-0 loss and a 2-all draw when Liverpool made the trip to Nottingham. So brilliant result for Jurgen Klopp and this Liverpool side, with all these kids they've pulled, from the academy to come and try and fill the void in the absence of a lot of their stars, including Mo Salah, including Diego Jota, including Dominic Soboslai, including Joel Matip, including Thiago Alcantara, including Alson Ramsey-Baker, who has been replaced by Kala in goal, quite doing wonders there, quite sensational. Yes, you could say Nottingham Forest weren't clinical just as much because they missed a couple of chances in this game. One memorable one was that of Anthony Elanga, that he fired just a few inches wide of the near post there, and then Morgan Gibbs White had an opportunity that was blocked. In the absence of all these stars, the captain in Virgil van Dijk has risen up game in, game out to lead this young team, to lead those that are available, and the injections in the young players that have been brought to the fold to try and replace all the stars that are being missed through injury. And he had a good performance, I thought, today. That's Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate, Joe Gomez, Robertson was withdrawn during the course of the game, if I'm not mistaken. But I do think this is how you grind it. These are the signs of the champions. That even when you're not having a good game, even when all things are not going your way, somehow you still manage to grind it out. Somehow you manage to find a result against whichever opponent. I mean, they did it against Chelsea. They went in the middle of the week and beat up against Southampton by 3-0. Academy players there scoring, beating Southampton by 3-0 to knock them out of the FA Cup, and they have since advanced to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, in which they will be facing Manchester United. So, and yet again today, it is those very young boys that he once again called upon to try and find a result for Liverpool, and they have just done that in the 90th minute of the game. Darwin Nunes scoring the only game of the goal as Liverpool won by a goal to nil to retain their lead at the top of the Premier League table. 63 points after 27 games. Yes. Anyway, that was it for Liverpool. But just to let you know what happened elsewhere in the Premier League. In the other results, Chelsea shared the spoils with Brentford in a 2-2 draw there. That was Chelsea visiting the GTEC Community Stadium, and goals from Nicolas Jackson and Axel Disasi helped Mauricio Pochettino's side hold Brentford to that 2-2 draw. For Brentford, it was Juan Visa that was on target for their second goal, while the first was scored by Mads. Mads there did score the first goal for Brentford. The game did finish 2-2 on today. In the other fixture of the day, West Ham have beaten up against Everton at the Goodison Park by 3-2. Brilliant performance there. So this is West Ham's consecutive win. Remember, on Monday they did beat up against Brentford by 4-2 in a game in which Gerard Bowen managed to score a hat-trick. Well, he wasn't on target for this one, but it was the likes of Thomas Soucek, the likes of Edson Alvarez that were on target for West Ham there today as they beat up against Everton by 2-1, and the other was Kat Zuma on target. For Everton, their only consolation did come from their striker Beto, who scored that only consolation as they lost by 3-1 against West Ham at Goodison Park. Kat Zuma, Thomas Soucek, and Edson Alvarez. Remember, they did sign Edson Alvarez in the summer from Ajax after letting go over Declan Rice to make that switch to Arsenal. Moving on, still in the other results, we had Fulham beat up against Brighton by 3-0. Yes, quite a brilliant result for this Fulham side, and yet they came in today's game on the back of beating Manchester United by 2-1. We all remember those goals from Basse and the other goal from Alexander Iwobi, while Harry Maguire had scored the goal from Manchester United, yes, last weekend. And now the interesting part for this particular game is that the assist provider for Alex Iwobi last weekend in Adama Traore did manage to get himself on target for this one. Yes, so Fulham beat Brighton by 3-0. Harry Wilson on target, Rodrigo Muniz there with the second goal, while Adama Traore scored the third as Marco Silva's side completed that 3-0 victory against Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton and Hove Albion. In the other game, still on Saturday, Newcastle have beaten up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. A brilliant result on this one. They really needed to rise back from that 4-1 defeat against Arsenal last weekend. So, and they've just done that by beating Wolves by 3-0. Their goals did come from their star striker, who also was returning from an injury. Not so far back ago, he did feature in that Arsenal loss, but Alexander Isak was on target for Eddie Howe's side, as well as Anthony Gordon was also on target in this one, and then Livramento did score the other goal of the game as Newcastle beat up against Wolves by 3-0. And then at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham have beaten up against Crystal Palace in spectacular fashion by 3-1. Crystal Palace, under the guidance of their new manager in Oliver Glasner, remember, they did come into this game on the back of a 3-0 victory, I think, against Burnley, but they have lost by 3-1 against Tottenham. Yes, Tottenham did miss one of their star players in recent times in Richarlison, who was ruled out for 2 to 3 weeks, but they managed to grind it out as they beat Crystal Palace by 3-1 in spectacular fashion. Like I did say, Crystal Palace found the back of the net first through a Belechi easy, but goals from Timo Werner, Cristiano Romero, and their captain Son Heung-min were quite enough to steer Ange Postecoglou's side to victory. Yes, so those were the other results from the Saturday Premier League match day 27 of the Premier League on Saturday. As we speak right now, Aston Villa are leading by a goal to nil against Luton Town. It is 1-0. That goal has been scored by Ollie Watkins, who now moves to 15 goals in second place of the top scorers, tied with Liverpool's Mo Salah, who has equally scored 15 goals. Yes, he did come into this game with a tally of 14 goals alongside Gerard Bowen and Dominic Solanke of AFC Bournemouth. They all had 14 goals, but he has just scored to put his side in the lead against Luton Town. Yes, so remember, this is the final game of Saturday, but tomorrow we'll have fixtures still in the Premier League, in which we'll have the Manchester City derby, when Manchester City host Manchester United. That is at 6:30 p.m. East African time, while the opening game of Sunday will be between Burnley and Bournemouth on Super Sunday. For the Gunners, that's Arsenal. They will have to wait until Monday night when they do play Sheffield United in the Monday night football. But what a brilliant result it has been for Liverpool. Very devastating, and for all the right reasons. For this, for Arsenal fans, for Manchester City fans, because they thought that somehow Liverpool were going to falter, because by the 97th minute of the game, it was still 0-0. So one would have thought that yes, they are going to drop 2 points, and perhaps if Manchester City beat up against Manchester United tomorrow, they do go above them on the table. Or if Manchester City can't beat United, and then Arsenal do manage to beat Sheffield United on Monday Night Football, they could then, propel themselves to the top of the Premier League table. But as things stand, Liverpool do retain that top slot on the Premier League table. And just to give it to you briefly, here are the Premier League standings. Liverpool first, 63 points. Of course, Manchester City and Arsenal occupy second and third places respectively at 59 points and 58 points respectively. Aston Villa, as we speak, I did say they are leading by a goal to nil. If it does finish that way, or if they do win this game, it will propel them to 55 points, but they will retain their fourth place. Tottenham, after that victory, retained their fifth place with now 50 points, while Manchester United occupy sixth, although they are yet to play. So that's the look over the top six of the Premier League table, while Newcastle also moved 2 points behind Manchester United with that 3-0 victory against the Wolverhampton Wanderers. So that was the result. Beautiful game of football. I mean, that's a football. That's football. The agony of defeat and the exhilaration of victory. They all come together at the same time. Liverpool fans celebrating, Arsenal fans crying foul play, quote unquote foul play, because they thought Liverpool had finally dropped some points. Well, it was never meant to be. If Arsenal is to win the title, or if Manchester City is to win the title, they'll have to do it the hard way. They'll have to win all their games. And Manchester City still have to play Liverpool. So it's still there for the taking. But I do think that Liverpool players will be doing it all to give Jurgen Klopp the perfect goodbye. And that's why I do think they'll go ahead to win the Premier League title. That's it all from me here at Football Tribe UG. Thank you for always taking the time to watch. If you're new, do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share on this video. And let me know what your thoughts are, who you think will win the Premier League title if you deviate from my views at the moment. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful Sunday and the rest of the weekend.